Welcome back to deep, dark depths, where the shadows whisper secrets and the night hides terrors that defy all logical explanation. Tonight, we explore two harrowing tales of real horror, from a haunted high-rise gym to a cursed apartment begging for entry. These stories serve as a grim reminder that sometimes the places we feel safe are actually traps waiting to be sprung. Our first nightmare begins with Christian, a dedicated fitness coach working the graveyard shift on the 15th floor of SM Strata. The building was notorious for its silence after midnight, a heavy quiet that seemed to press against the glass windows relentlessly. He was used to the solitude, finding peace in the rhythmic clanking of weights and the hum of the air conditioning.
But that peace was shattered one night, when the television in the corner suddenly roared to life, blasting static noise loudly, heart pounding in his chest. Christian stared at the screen, wondering how it could turn on without anyone touching the remote. He assumed it was a glitch, walking over to manually silence the device, pressing the hard plastic button on the back. Silence returned to the room, but the air felt different now, charged with an electricity that made the hair on his arms stand. He had barely taken 2 steps when the static noise erupted again, louder this time, mocking his attempt to restore order. Frustrated and unnerved, he decided to cut the power completely, reaching down to pull the plug from the wall socket below. He held the plug in his hand, a sigh of relief escaping his lips, believing the electrical malfunction was finally resolved. But as he looked up, his blood ran cold, for the television continued to play,
Defying the laws of physics entirely.
Panic surged through his veins as he backed away, realizing that whatever was powering that screen was not electricity, but something else. He fled the main floor, retreating to the locker room to collect his thoughts and wash the cold sweat from his face. The locker room was bright and clinically white, offering a false sense of security as he tried to rationalize the impossible. Suddenly, the sound of running water echoed from the shower stalls, despite him being the only living soul in the building. He froze, turning off his tap, listening as the phantom shower continued to run, accompanied by a low, guttural humming sound. Then, cutting through the noise of the water, a voice, distorted and deep, called out his name from the empty stall. He stared into the mirror, paralyzed by fear
As the air temperature plummeted and the smell of sulfur filled his nose, adrenaline finally kicked in, breaking his paralysis, and he scrambled to grab his bag, no longer caring about his closing duties. He bolted for the elevators, the sensation of being watched burning into his back, feeling a presence right on his heels. Only when the doors slid shut did he allow himself to breathe, escaping the 15th floor, but not the memory of it. The next day, he confided in a longtime client, describing the terror he had witnessed in the dead of the night. Her face went pale as she listened, and she quietly revealed the tragic history that the management had tried to bury. Years ago, a staff member had suffered a massive heart attack right there on the gym floor, alone and without help. She had died reaching for the phone, her spirit trapped in the cycle of her final, desperate moments of isolation and pain. Christian realized he had not been hallucinating. He had been sharing his shift with a soul that never clocked out. He handed in his resignation that very afternoon, refusing to step foot on the 15th floor ever again after that revelation. Some leave when they sense danger, but others walk right into the trap. This brings us to our second terrifying tale. A young man of 24 thought he had struck gold, finding a spacious apartment for an incredibly low monthly rent price. He ignored the warning signs, the strange smell in the air, and the way the landlord seemed eager to leave quickly.
The first few nights were uneventful, but soon he began to notice the peculiar habits of the other residents on his floor. His neighbors would leave their doors wide open, sitting in complete darkness, eating their dinner without a single light on. He tried to wave hello once, but the figure in the dark just stared back, chewing slowly, eyes reflecting the hallway light. Unsettled, he started avoiding the hallway, but the elevator proved to be an even more terrifying place to be trapped. One evening, a group of pale, gaunt figures crowded into the lift with him, standing uncomfortably close despite the empty space. They didn't press any floor buttons. They just stood there, staring at the back of his head, breathing in unison. He felt a cold chill radiate from them, a smell of damp earth and decay that made him gag and tremble. When the doors opened, he rushed out, but as they closed, he heard them whisper in a chorus of raspy voices. The words drifted out from the closing gap, chilling him to the bone. "Invite us in. Please, just invite us in." He locked every lock he had, barricading himself inside, realizing that these were not normal neighbors, and this was no normal building. That night, the knocking started. Not polite taps, but scratching sounds, like animals trying to claw their way through the wood. He tried to call for help, but his phone showed no signal, isolating him completely, with the entities waiting just outside. The whispers continued all night, begging, pleading, and demanding to be invited inside, claiming they were hungry and cold. By morning, the noises stopped, but his sanity was fraying. He knew he had to leave, but fear kept him paralyzed. He stayed inside for days, until the knocking stopped coming from the hallway and started coming from inside his own closet. Weeks later, after complaints of a foul smell, the police broke down the door, expecting to find a body inside. But the apartment was empty of life. No tenant, no neighbors, just a chilling silence that made the officers unease. In the center of the living room lay his clothes and shoes, collapsed in a pile, as if he had simply evaporated. But the most horrifying discovery was scrawled on the wall, in a substance that looked disturbingly like dried, dark red blood. The message read, "Thanks for inviting us. A final testament to a mistake that cost a young man his existence." The police filed it as a missing person case, but those who saw the room knew that he hadn't just gone missing. He had given in. He had spoken the words. And now, he was part of the darkness that dwells in that building. From the high-rise gym to the low-rent apartment, these stories teach us that the paranormal is closer than we think. We often dismiss the noises in the night as wind or settling pipes, but perhaps we are just comforting ourselves. Behind every window lies a story, and behind some lies a horror waiting for the right moment to make itself known. So as you sit there watching this screen, ask yourself, are you truly alone in the room, or just currently unbothered? Pay attention to the small things, the cold draft, the flickering bulb, the shadow that moves when you aren't looking. Christian learned that some gyms take more than just sweat. They take a piece of your soul if you stay too long. And the young tenant learned that an invitation is a powerful contract that once signed can never be revoked or annulled. These entities are always looking for a way in, searching for a crack in our reality or a moment of weakness. They wait for us to acknowledge them, to fear them, or to simply open the door and let them inside. So tonight, double-check your logs. Look closely at your reflection. And never, ever invite a stranger into your sanctuary. The line between our world and theirs is thinner than you think, and it breaks easily under the weight of fear. We document these stories not just to scare you, but to warn you. Knowledge is your only defense against the unknown. Even after leaving the building, Christian claims he still feels the cold spots, a lingering attachment from that cursed 15th floor.
And that apartment, it is back on the market, waiting for the next bargain hunter who ignores the instincts of survival.
The cycle continues, fed by ignorance and skepticism, until it is too late to turn back the hands of fate. Buildings hold memories, stained into the concrete and steel, replaying the tragedies of the past for anyone willing to listen. Can you hear it? The sound of the building breathing. The quiet hum of energy that shouldn't be there. Trust your gut. If a place feels wrong, leave. If a voice calls your name when you are alone, do not answer. Animals know. Children know. Only we adults convince ourselves that monsters are just figments of our overactive imaginations. Those neighbors are still there, eating in the dark, waiting for someone new to whisper their invitation through the door crack. Technology is often the first conduit. A glitching TV, a stuck elevator, a phone with no signal. These are the warnings.
When the unknown calls, let it ring. Curiosity is the bait that leads many to a demise they cannot escape. We hope these stories haunt your dreams tonight, keeping you vigilant against the darkness that presses against your own windows. The wind howls, that sometimes, if you listen closely, you can hear the voices of those who were taken before their time. Fear is a powerful energy source. It feeds them. It makes them stronger. So try to be brave if you can. The witching hour approaches, the time when the veil is thinnest, the time when the TV might just turn on by itself. Christian sought solace in faith, hoping to cleanse the darkness that clung to him like a second skin after that night. But sanctuary is fleeting, when the darkness is not just a place, but a presence that marks you for life. The writing on the wall remains, hidden under layers of cheap paint, waiting to bleed through for the next tenant to see. You can paint over the past, but you cannot erase the energy of a soul that was consumed by the void. Two locations, thousands of miles apart, yet connected by the universal thread of fear and the predatory nature of the paranormal. If you survived these stories, leave a like and subscribe. It might just be the charm that keeps the shadows away. Check out our other videos for more true horror stories. But be warned, once you start watching, you cannot look away. We will be waiting for you in the next episode. Until then, keep your lights on and your doors locked tight. Thank you for watching Deep, Dark Depths. Sleep with one eye open, for you never know who might be watching you.